You can have a double beard with a double chin.
Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Krusty's Third Nipple. The podcast is unnecessary as a newspaper's April Fool's joke. My name's Kieran and I'm joined as ever by Darren.
Hello.
And Tarek.
How are you doing?
And in this episode we're going back to a Stone Cold classic. So far back in fact that it came out when I was still in nappies. The 1985 time travel phenomenon that is Back to the Future. Before that, we're going to give a recommendation each from what we've been watching over the last 2 weeks, and I host a triple threat quiz between Darren, Tarek and our special guest for this episode. Joining us today is a man who's got 4 names but doesn't use any of them. His birth certificate might read Stephen James Alexander Carr, but we all know and love him as Stealth. Welcome to the podcast.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
How you doing, mate?
Good to see you.
How's everybody been doing recently? Because see, with the lockdowns kind of easing slightly, and the nights are getting a bit lighter. One of the highlights for the last 2 weeks is the resurgence of what we call around here the Friday night club. So every Friday night about 5:30, 6 o'clock, parents have had their tea, get them all wrapped up in coats, take them to the park along with a couple of beers and just stay there till it gets dark. So happy
Friday night club.
Friday night club.
Just all the dads standing there discussing their
fantasy
football teams.
Very much.
What buffets did you get for your Father's Day?
How many Easter eggs have they got?
Standard. That's good. As long as they're all craft beers. I'm guessing.
Oh, well, at one point I was like pushing 2 swings with one hand, like
a pro.
And then the other hand I had my neighbour's got a keg machine. So like I've drafted Stella in a Stella glass and then just pushing. And there's somebody who's nothing to do with this just walked up past with a dog and just looked at me. What's going on there?
The ultimate multitasker.
Well, we gave you the complimentary head nod, I have to say. Yeah, guys winning there.
Yeah. And the same men can multitask.
When it comes to beer, it's definitely we can do anything.
You find a way. But it's been great. I've had to be able to go out with friends and play football, Drumgeeth, most Saturdays. So, and it's been hotter. I think actually, like yesterday was probably the hottest day of the year so far, I'd say. So that was a good time for football. And obviously it was Leah's birthday yesterday as well, so that was a lot of fun. So it's just kind of, I see people that say sunlight directly links to your mood, and I've always kind of written it off until this year when I think it's impacted us more than ever. because of all lockdown and stuff, but it does make me feel better now that we're getting sunnier days.
Oh, definitely. And it wasn't just Leah's birthday. It was Stephen James Alexander Carr. Stephen James Alexander Carr. Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Steph.
Happy birthday.
Thanks very much. Another year older, another birthday spent in lockdown. But hopefully soon enough we'll be out of it and we could celebrate it properly.
How many pairs of bathies did you get?
None, actually. I'm not so much a bathies guy.
Nah.
Plenty of jammies though, but not so much the bathies.
So yeah, socks guy or just like the tase it?
Socks guy. Definitely socks guy. I'm not a feet man. No, not at all.
Aye, no, let's get off of the feet chart because
please
stand up.
Yeah, no.
So what did you do for your birthday then, Stealth?
Not much at all. As I say, I was working yesterday morning, so from 6:30 to 2:30, that was me as a busy man. Spent the afternoon with the kids, pretty much it. No, nothing else much happening.
Oh, very good.
Went to visit a friend of ours, Frank, last night, see how he was getting on a wee PS4 night, just the two a wee bro date, but apart from that, nothing else.
Can't
Did
beat
he try and
those.
touch you? Said did he try and touch you?
I wasn't at
Brody.
No, that kind of day.
No.
So
That's for next year.
in the 2 weeks since we've been away, Cineworld's come up with some news. They're going to reopen UK cinemas next month after signing a new deal with Warner Brothers. So under this deal, from next year, Cineworld will get exclusive showing of Warner Brothers films for at least a month before they're on the streaming platforms. Obviously, it's been a pretty lean period for cinemas of late, and I think it's allowed the streaming platforms to tighten their grip on cinemas even more so than they had been.
The industry as a whole, yeah.
So I'm hoping that this kind of move could be a step in the right direction to try and level the playing field a little bit, give them a fighting chance.
Yeah, no, I've seen a couple of the movies that they've got up and coming. So there's the Godzilla versus Kong, and then the one after that is, I think, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So the new Mortal Kombat one, which we mentioned a couple of episodes ago. Those of our active listeners that will remember that.
We're going to go and see them. We're going to play our part in the recovery of cinemas, and we'll have a Krusty day out, a night out into the theatre next month. And Daz thinks it's going to be a good idea for us to kind of record an immediate reaction to this and put it out as a bonus episode. So we'll do that.
Yeah, especially for as like a little kind of extra bit or a little bite for the YouTube or Facebook or something like that. If we go out and then maybe come back to our house and record our first reactions, and then it kind of gets us ahead of the curve as well, because there'll be a trending topic.
Yeah,
and we'll be one of the first to get our words out, get our foot in the door. So
we'll have to be quick and get the first booking then.
Yeah,
as soon as we can.
Even if we have to sit in 3 different places in the cinema.
You should live record it from the cinema.
No, wait a second.
During that, just let it play.
I'll get with trending at least.
Yeah.
I'll get to jail as well.
Spread the word in there.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you've got to make some things for your art. What's the phrase?
Yeah, suffer for the art.
Suffer for the art, that's it. So with the hot sun, with the sun coming out, well, actually, I'll just give you a quick April Fool's that his mum thought would have been quite fun to play.
Right.
So this was so I got a heads up 2 days beforehand, and she just said, "Oh, I want to do April joke." I was like, "Right, okay." She thought it was just in Poland that they did this.
All right.
Until we just kind of said, "No." Well, Izzy explained to her, and that was all good. So she didn't want Izzy to know either. And was the kids at school on April Fool's Day? Yeah. It was a Friday, was it? Or Thursday. So she said to us as soon as they'd left, she was like, "Right, what we'll do is she's bought these hairspray things to colour your hair." And she said that she just basically wanted to spray her hair a different colour, spray my beard a different colour, and then jump out on the kids when they came through the door. I was like, well, that's not really April Fool's, but we'll jump out and scare them. Yeah, I'm good. I'm game for that. Always game for it. So gets about time for the kids to come home. I was finished work early, so I was outside working in the garden. She came out with the spray cans. So she was like, right, you do this, you get it all sprayed. I was like, right, so she started spraying my beard. And then she just finished, she sprayed a big thing on top of my head. And then she went away inside, got her coat on, and just left. So she just sprayed me all red and blue, and then just fucking done his right up. She didn't spray anything of herself. I was just like, oh, what the fuck? So got pure done one from her.
That's the real one where the person in the joke is actually being joked.
Exactly. I was just standing there going, where are you going? She must just be going for a wee walk, come back. Nah, she was going for like 3 hours.
Had to be Springer step during that walk.
Exactly. Did any of you guys get any decent April Fools?
Nah.
Nah.
Well, not so much April Fools, but the boys, I've just discovered what pranks are recently. So the new thing is basically doing pranks every other day. So it was Laura's birthday on Thursday, and we got a cake for her. So Monroe's grand plan was to put whipped cream all over the cake, and then when Laura went to blow up the candles, we'd push her face into the cake, which she successfully did. This morning was my turn, because obviously I was working yesterday, so I was woken up with the old, not shaving foam, but whipped cream in the hand, tickled the face, ended up on my face this morning. That was nice. And then I went downstairs into the kitchen.
Your kids are great.
Oh, it's fantastic. Great to spend your Sunday morning. So I was called out the kitchen, Dad, we've got you a cake. Now I could see what it was, but by this point, you've got to go along with it. What they've done was they've got a box, put a balloon inside it, whipped cream all over the top, sprinkles, etc. Right, Dad, come on, I'm going to cut you a cake. Knife into the cake, balloon pops, whipped cream all over the kitchen, all over me. Fantastic. So, yeah. Nothing too bad in the grand scheme of things, but yeah, I could just see that escalating now.
They should have their own YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Those are three top ranks.
They get millions of views off them, yeah.
All these big ladies.
Pranksters.
Oh, definitely. Just wait till you got your hand in hot water and you wake up.
Don't give me any ideas, Tarek.
Yeah, bad enough as it is, especially because it seems to be old school pranks, but as I say, they still work. But that's definitely one of the oldest school ones, that one.
Well, I probably watched the longest movie how any is today, this week, because I don't even know what to say. I journeyed on the odyssey of the 4-hour length Snyder Cut and of the Justice League. And what can I say about 4 hours to fit it in less than 4 minutes? To be honest, I think it was great. Was it worth the length, the runtime? Yes and no. I would say mostly yes. There's some scenes that are just tacked on or just kind of embiggened for stylish reasons, like the movie's opening of the ending of Batman v Superman. Spoilers if you haven't seen that, but of Superman dying and his death yells going on for like 5 minutes. And it is important to kind of the plot that makes sense, but you could just say it in a word rather than slow-mo 5-minute yells and conjuring the whole world. Or there's a scene with the Amazons are like shooting an arrow to send a message to Wonder Woman. It takes about 20 minutes, that whole scene. You could just have it done in like 10 seconds. But I really think it improves upon the movie. It's Zack Snyder's vision, which is it's good that's been realized, because that was screwed over by the producers and the people in charge as soon as the tragedy in his family happened. And as soon as he stepped out, they just licked their lips and they just tried to screw it over as much as they could. But you know what? The fans campaigned hard for it and they got what they wanted, and I think everybody's happy. So it's worth it. But probably just once for most people.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm just sitting here, really, really fucking smug at your description of what the Justice League was like after.
Listen, I just did that to win a Dawn. Okay, we've all done things to win Dawns. That wasn't my actual beliefs. Listen, I may fight for the heart, but not all the times, right?
I did ask him that.
Does that to you?
I did ask him that yesterday. He says, "So, do you stand by your Dawn argument, or do you revise it?" He says, "Nah, I'd probably revise it, to be honest."
I was just for a Dawn. Yeah. We all do things for a Dawn.
Yeah.
No, I watched that as well. I thought it was pretty. It definitely could have been done in 3 hours. Definitely. Slow moving things. It's just like, oh, come on, man. Let's just get it done. But when I was watching it, I was kind of looking at all the different things that I think Snyder's edited or tweaked and trying to play back from memory of what the old film was. and the scenes that they had, and I was more looking at it as, right, so what's he actually done here? So when he was doing for that 4 hours, a lot of the time I was actually thinking, right, he's done this, he's stretched that out a good fucking bit. Which you just say that to yourself far too many times, but it brings a story along a lot more. And now the new hashtag, was it Snyderverse?
Yeah, restore the Snyderverse, because Snyderverse has setups that if he doesn't get more movies, will never get paid off. He has different interpretations. Like, so this Justice League was supposed to get put out in 2017. Since then, there's been movies afterwards, like Aquaman and stuff like that have different takes on the character than what Snyder has and stuff like that. Just like different things like that. So the whole universe is changed in his hand rather than.
See, that's interesting. Is that I take it the Marvel universe is like that as well, and that you can hand the film over to a director and he's got his vision of what this little story is, but then does that fuck up like what the next guy wants to do?
I think it's different.
They did it in a way that they'll have most of their individual movies first before they join a group up, and plus they have a guy in charge, Kevin Feige, that overlooks everything and said, here's the plan, you have this wiggle room that you can go, which has been criticized because it's not really the director's view, it's just kind of Feige's view, and they're just there to do the job, because
it's not really a Marvel universe, it's Feige's universe.
Edgar Wright stepped out of Ant-Man because he wasn't allowed to do what he really wanted. And he's a guy that you're watching an Edgar Wright movie when you watch it.
Well, you need that. I would argue, just as like an outsider of this, that you'd probably need that, because if you allowed everybody to be like a Zack Snyder and just to go on with, say, a fucking Ant-Man or a Superman, and they would probably want their character to be the guy or the most interesting story and all this, and then just like when they do come together for this or for the what they call Avengers or whatever, how does it all mix together? You need somebody.
Yeah, because Snyder did the Superman movie, then the Batman v Superman movie, and then this movie, and then there was a movie afterwards of those characters. So he already had this vision, and then they just tried to correct it. Course correct.
No, I just agree with you, Kieran. I think you're right in that Marvel might have its criticisms, but you do need that overall sort of voice that steers the films, because I think Marvel's got 23 films overall that have kind of led to one big story, whereas DC, admittedly, they have had some good films, but maybe 4 or 5, and they seem to be a bit not cohesive, and that's the reason I kind of struggle to build a universe. But I think for what he did, it was definitely an improvement overall on the Joss Whedon cut of the film. Just need to ask you, Darren, did you watch it in one sitting, or did you break it up, like take a break halfway through, or did you just go straight through 4 hours?
No, I've got an iron ass. I just went and battered through the 4 hours.
I was doing other things, like I'd have my lunch, and then I brought it through to the kitchen, did those dishes, put it away, then went back. I just had it on my phone, and so I was transporting it through the house. I didn't sit in one place, so I kept it going all the way through, but it was for a stint, but not in one sitting.
Nice.
What about you? Did you 4 hours it?
No, I split it. I split it into two. I was getting a bit late at night. I was getting a bit late at night for me, and I thought I'm going to fall asleep with it, so I'll split it. But I did attempt it the first night I came up the Friday. I thought I'll stick it on. I got for like 2.5 hours into it, and I had to turn it off.
But the movie, Dad, I don't know if you know, it's actually split up into parts. So it'll say part 1, then part 2, then part. So if you do want to, just do 2 stages, 2 parts.
There's a pretty obvious bit to do it.
Definitely, yeah. So I think he's made that with that in mind. So it's another kind of. I think more movies should kind of do that if they're going to be long or something like that, or even because I felt like it was a different chapter of the book rather than you see sometimes in movies where it just kind of goes. It's like, oh well, there's not really any balance in this. There's no. Yeah, there's no flow to this. But if you say stop, all right, here's a different story that you can go. It makes it more sense to me anyway.
Like, I watched a film called. Well, I'll tell you how come. Like, remember we did Burn After Reading, and I was just searching through Netflix for a film that kind of just took my fancy, but I hadn't really heard anything of. This was the other option. This just missed out to Burn After Reading for no reason other than just like the 30 seconds that you get on Netflix, and then just kind of like the look of it. So it had this kind of like indie cinema sort of feel to it, low budget type thing. And it's called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. Anybody's ever seen that?
No,
Never heard.
I've never seen it, but I have heard of it, yeah.
I remember how far when it was made. 2017, and it's on Netflix. So it follows Ruth, who's kind of like she's a nurse, and she's living in this kind of nondescript house in Austin, I think. And she's kind of like a bit downtrodden. There's a kind of bit at the start. The opening scene is her being interrupted by like noisy neighbours and going to the shops and getting cut off in the car park, and then getting skipped in the queue and stuff like that. She's just kind of getting like a bit like that. And it's a story about how she supposedly gets her revenge. So I thought, all right, okay, I'll see that. How does she go about it? Does she kind of, grab life by the balls and kind of become more steadfast or whatever? Her laptop gets stolen, and she kind of drags one of her neighbours into help, and he's like this. It's Elijah Wood, who plays this guy who kind of reminds me of Dwight from the US Office, in that he's an absolute like geek, but like he's got a ninja belt with all these like the star things that you chuck in the wall.
Ninja stars. He's got them, and he practices with nunchucks in the back gaze and stuff. But he's like the same as her. Like, he's nobody's mate, an absolute outsider. So they two set off to try and get the laptop back. And just one thing leads to another, and it turns into this absolute gore fest that is so shit funny. It's going to take my eyes off. I couldn't believe the next thing happened. The next thing happened. At one point, they get dragged into this. I don't want to say too much, but they get dragged into this house robbery, and like calamity happens. There's people suffering bullet wounds and chopped off hands and everything like that. And she's just like spewing her absolute ringer at this in the corner. She's just completely not used to this. And somebody just says, "Could you stop that? Could you just fucking stop that?" And it just gets more crazy. But she sort of maintains her level-headedness and realism, I would say. And you definitely feel for her, you definitely pull for her, and you just laugh the whole way through as soon as all this stuff starts. And it's quite like touching as well. At one point, she's asked, like, "What do you want with this? Do you want money? Do you want this?" She just says, "I just want everybody to stop being arseholes. That's it. That's what I want." Mm-hmm. And you're like, "Yeah, fucking right." So good on you. And I would definitely recommend this. I don't feel at home in this world anymore. Sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Well, definitely have to give that a wee bash, especially if it's Netflix, because I've just been complaining a wee bit to a couple of people today, saying Netflix has got pretty shit recently, but not really too much kind of getting added to it. So I was actually
they've just got
not to
on that. They've just released loads of films for this month, all the Shrek ones. And also, what's it called? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is now on Netflix. So there you go.
And if anyone else that's listening, we've just had a load of kind of tweets or replies to a couple of our Krusty Third Nipple tweets from a few of the local lads and lasses about different movies to watch. So if you are looking for something to have a wee look through, pop on our Twitter or Facebook page, and we read through some of the
recommendations. Really
get
good.
The conversation going.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you everyone for suggesting stuff.
And chuck some in there as well. decent ones. None of your shite.
Both posts are pinned on Facebook and Twitter if you're looking for it.
Will I go for my one? It was. I've watched a few things this week, but nothing that really greatly stood out. Well, the main one that stood out was it was on BBC iPlayer. It's called Detroit. It's a fact-based drama set in the 1960, I think 60 odds, Detroit race riots. So the first thing that kind of caught us, it's got John Boyega and Anthony Mackie, so he's Falcon, and John Boyega, Star Wars, and everything else that he's been kind of kicking about in. So also got the guy from We're the Millers. So remember the young boy that was in it, the young white
the
guy.
Eyebrows.
The eyebrows.
See the guy that sings TLC Waterfalls.
Yeah. Will Poulter. Yeah, he's brilliant. He's funny as fucking that. And he's in this, and he's grew up. He plays one of the cops in this. So it's set in the Detroit race riots. It kind of follows a couple of young kids that are starting their musical careers, if you like. They're called the Dramatics, and there's a few other different people. There's like a black army veteran that's just came back from Iraq, and they've all kind of congregated into the Algier motel.
Mm-hmm.
And the riots are going on, and everything's kind of kicking off. They've just got the National Guard deployed. So this is all, like I said, it's factual-based drama. So everything happened, and what happened in Algier did actually happen, and they've just had to kind of piece it together as best they could. So all these people got put in there. With the National Guard being outside, everybody was kind of stuck inside the hotel. And the National Guards were looking for snipers. And one of the guys that's in the hotel, he pulls his it's called the starter pistol gun, puts it out the window and fires it, and then that just brings the attention of the National Guard onto their motel and the police. And then Will Poulter and a couple other guys come in, and they just kind of start arresting all the black people. There's like 7 black guys and 2 white women, and they start calling them hookers and all this type of stuff. But it's really good. It's kind of, it gets built up really, really well. John Boyega, yeah, always decent. And a lot of there's quite a few different actors that you might have seen from The Wire and a few other different
good. American, I just noticed as well, it's directed by Catherine Bigelow. She did The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30. So, yeah. Yeah,
you can totally see the way that she's kind of got it going with The Hurt Locker, how it's quite, the camera is just kind of handheld, and you can feel it kind of they're rushing about a wee bit. It's quite dark. But no, yeah, definitely a good one to go for.
Steph, what about you recommending?
Well, this week, just going back to probably Netflix, again, something that I probably put off watching for a while, and I thought I'll give it a go. The Crown.
Okay.
Yeah, it's again something I just thought I'll give it a go, see what I got. I just recently finished the wrestling on Channel 4, which I would probably recommend more than I would The Crown so far. If I was going to recommend anything, if you've not seen the wrestling, definitely one to go for. That's up on Channel 4 just now, the complete box set. But no, so far, so good for The Crown. It's a bit different. It's one of the things where you're used to watching sort of dramatised series like something like Game of Thrones or that, whereas this is more factual based. It takes a while to get used to where you're expecting, he's going to do this or she's going to do that or this would happen, but it's obviously not like that. But also finish the first 2 seasons, and I'm interested to see how it carries on.
Yeah, it's funny you get all these Tory cunts just now saying that it should carry a disclaimer that this is a work of fiction.
Well, that's the thing as well, because obviously they have to fictionalise some of it, but there is a lot of that is it's fact based. I mean, it's there, it's all there in the public domain for the film, and that's the reason for it.
I've never went for those type of period dramas. I tried that Bridgerton with Izzy, and I fell asleep at the first episode. And so I don't know. I've always just been kind of put off with that type of TV or film.
There's such an audience just for it, though.
Definitely.
Yeah, Stealth seems to be this type.
Just saying it. Whenever I heard of Bridgerton, I was just on Twitter. I was like, fans erupting over Bridgerton. I'm like, who? What? What's the show?
Right, as he said that I fell asleep, and then the next episode, just all the sex just starts happening in like every episode. I might go back and watch it.
It could be this year's Sex in the City.
Oh my God, Samantha!
Right. So one thing they can't get is it's not a Sex and City thing.
Okay. Right. Okay. We'll move on to the triple threat quiz coming up next. So you've heard us stutter through a few episodes now, and if you're thinking I could do better than they 3 napes, then you're probably right. You can even do it right from your mobile phone. The free Anchor app has all the tools to record and edit your podcast, and Anchor will do all the distribution to places like Apple Podcasts and Spotify for you. You can even make money right from the start. But hey, don't just take my word for it. Here's Tarek's mother-in-law to tell you more.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
There you go. Simply download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Just remember to plug in your mic.
The best place to listen to Krusty third Nipple. It's nice.
So we're back with this episode's quiz. I am just putting myself out with the firing line because I don't want to go through the torture of trying to beat somebody on these quizzes. So and also I wanted to have a kind of battle of a big geek off here because Darren's won a fair few quizzes, absolutely spanked me the last 2 times, and Stoltz has said that he's no bad at the odd quiz as well. In fact, he beat. Well, tell the story about how you beat your cheating flatmate.
Oh, the Frank story.
Aye.
Well, but probably 10 plus years ago when I was with Frank, we used to have a nightly sort of routine where we'd both finish work same time, come home, Pointless would be on BBC One. So we're kind of, that was a regular thing where put Pointless on, cup of tea, and we'll just do the quiz against each other, see how we got on. Invariably, if we put something to braggadocious side, would beat Frank, which, as you're aware with Frank, he's not the best loser when it comes to certain competitive things. So one night, unbeknownst to me, Frank had actually taped an episode and put this episode on, having already watched it and noted the answers. So went through the episode as normal. At the end of the episode, I won again. Frank was fuming. And I didn't obviously why I was extra raging. So I'd have that with Fred in my cap yet. I've beat him on a quiz with the ordinary answers was quite funny.
That's what you get.
Oh, that's what you get, yeah, exactly.
That actually reminds me of our last quiz where Tarek, I don't think we've put this on the air, but the questions Tarek gave me, the movie quotes, are word for word the same ones that he gave me about 6 months earlier as part of the Zoom quiz craze, and I still fucking got 6 out of it.
I love that though, because it's just like, it's you. You're still the same guy. You're still the same memories. Yeah, the same.
I remember now he said like, "Oh, I've got an idea," and that was probably his idea. Worked it well. Still got spanked. So I'm going to kind of go with the same format in terms of its quotes, but slightly different. We're going to have 3 quotes from like classic movies, and you're going to have to tell me which movie they come from. 3 quotes from Simpsons episodes, and you're going to have to tell me which character said it. And then 3 quotes from the Back to the Future trilogy, and you're going to have to tell me which one. So 1, 2, or 3. Part 1, part 2, part 3. And then we'll have a wild card number question, which could split any sort of tie breaks. So we'll put the guest in the firing line first.
Okay.
So, Stealth.
Wait.
Let's see how good you are. So the movies one, classic movie. So it's Carpe Diem, seize the day, boys, make your lives extraordinary.
No. Sorry, no idea.
Okay. We've not said how we're going to do this in terms of when we read the answers or whatever.
You can keep note of the answers and then you could say in third place.
Right, okay.
And then,
but I kind of like Tarek was nodding there. I kind of like maybe you should give bonus points if either of you could.
Oh, let's go for an answer.
Right.
It's controversial.
Whoa. When it gets to this point, I also know this as well. So.
Right, okay. I won't then. Right.
Oh, then, Dan, me and you'll have a game of audio again.
No.
All right, the next question.
Right, next one. It should take you exactly 4 seconds to cross from here to that door. I'll give you 2. It should take you exactly 4 seconds to cross from here to that door.
I've heard that and I can't place it
I'll
wrong.
give you 2.
Set myself on the phone, isn't it?
Anything.
You actually had a countdown clock on the go. That's just not exceptional. No.
Okay. Number 3. There's no crying in baseball.
I'll leave it their own.
Right. So that's obviously 1 out of 3 so far. The answers to the other 2 are Carpe Diem is Dead Poets Society, and it should take you exactly 4 seconds to cross from here to that door. I'll give you 2. Anybody else?
Dirty Harry.
No. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Okay, on to the Simpsons Stealth.
Okay.
Shoplifting is a victimless crime, like punching someone in the dark. So who said that?
Homer?
No. Next one. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Democracy simply doesn't work.
Just want to say Homer Ferrari. She's watching The Simpsons, I think. Lisa?
Nope. Okay, next one. Go out on a Tuesday. Go out on a Tuesday. Who am I? Charlie Sheen?
Homer.
Sorry, mate. Shoplifting is a victimless crime, like punching someone in the dark. Anybody?
Abu?
Nelson Muntz. So I just thought, like, the bully, isn't he? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Democracy simply doesn't work.
Is that Sideshow Bob?
Kent
Principal
Brockman.
Who was it?
Kent
The news
Brockman,
anchor.
the news anchor.
Yeah.
And go on a Tuesday. Who am I? Charlie Sheen is Marge.
Wow. We'll never guess Marge for that one.
Okay, so Stealth. You need to rack some up here. So back to
Fair self. You look like Marge upside down.
Right. I'll give you 3 quotes here. You tell me 1, 2, or 3. Okay.
Right.
Don't talk to anyone. Don't touch anything. Don't do anything. Don't interact with anyone, and try not to look at anything.
That'll be 3. No, 2. Wait. No.
I'll give you 1 chance at. I'll give you 1 chance at. 1 more.
3.
3. Okay. So you're my great grandfather, the first McFly born in America, and you peed on me.
That's 3 as well, actually.
And Jesus, didn't that guy ever have hair?
1. Speaking of
Okay,
Principal Strickland.
you got 2 of them correct. You got
First name was wrong.
yeah. First one is from number 2.
See, that's what confused me because he says didn't touch it and didn't do anything, but he's going to the future, so it won't affect it.
But there is something. He does say something similar to that one as well, did he? So this is the wild card, right? And whoever's closest to this in the event of a tie will win it. Okay. So what number rated film is Back to the Future on IMDb? 14. Okay. Right. So that is a score of 3 and a guess of 14 for the last one. Okay. Right, Tarek, you're up. Movies.
Name stretches.
Movies.
I've got a sore elbow. I need to knee. Need to stretch.
Oh,
that
you
out.
got a sore knee. Okay, no, sore knee.
Need to get that in there, did I? If you've not seen it on my run keeper.
Or if you've not heard about it every time you've seen him.
How's your knee after your fall?
Fine. It's like
Just in case anybody went and met Kieran at the skate park with the kids. Kieran thought he'd be Chuck the Lad, grabbed his daughter's scooter. Thought, seeing all these young boys doing big jumps and alley oops and loop the loops or whatever the fuck you're wanting to call them. Went down the ramp, and then he just went down like a ton of fucking bricks and rolled. and rolled.
So I've got scars to prove it. Right. Movies. Tarek.
Right, let's go for it.
You Had Me at Hello.
Oh, Jerry Maguire.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am. You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am.
Pretty Women.
Nope. Anybody? Well,
Raging Bull?
no.
Yeah, I was going to say that. No?
On the waterfront.
Oh, that was Marlon Brando, was it?
And I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Is it Platoon? No. Fuck.
In fact, just had a quick check for Raging Bull. I think they paraphrased that speech, maybe. Yeah, but it's from On the Waterfront. So yeah, Tarek, sorry, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. What's your guess?
It's got Marlon Brando in it as well. Charlie Sheen. What the fuck is the name? Can I pass? Come back to it.
No.
Does it tell a story about you falling? You dick.
Yeah.
Nah, not the falling, the rolling.
And the rolling. Shit. I could just go with Platoon. Fuck, I can't, it's wrong.
Anybody else? Still?
On you go, Daz, have you got?
I was going to say Apocalypse Now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Simpsons. Hi, everybody.
Krusty.
Nope.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Right, cool.
That was a given to you. I thought that would do.
Yeah, that's easy. So.
That's a given.
Right, okay.
Shit.
Next one. Dear Mr. President, there are too many states nowadays. Please eliminate 3.
Is that from the movie? No, that's not for the movie. Nelson, maybe? When Lisa's the president? No. Go with Nelson.
Nah, incorrect. Anybody? It's Grandpa Simpson.
Grandpa.
Grandpa says that, yeah. And Bake 'em Away toys.
Chief. Wiggum.
I was going to give you Chief Wiggum. That's correct.
I should have just stopped it at Chief.
I just keep going wig.
Wigga.
Back to Future now. Right. Marty, you're going to have to do something about those clothes. You walk around town dressed like that, you're liable to get shot. 1, 2, or 3?
2.
Jennifer, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're in a time machine. 1, 2, or 3?
2.
And if my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
1.
Okay, so you got 2 correct there. The first one is from number 3.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so you are on 4, which puts you ahead of Stealth. But give me your Back to the Future IMDb rating.
Oh, yes. Right. What did you say, Stealth? 14.
I said 14. 4,500?
No, I think it's further down than that.
I know. I'll probably be thinking that now, actually.
I reckon maybe 32.
Okay.
Oh, 32.
Right, does 4 to beat.
Okay.
Right, movie
In
quiz.
zone. Right.
You talking to me?
Taxi driver.
Right. A boy's best friend is his mother.
Psycho.
Right. These go to 11.
Oh. Is that, what is it called? Spinal Tap.
Yeah, correct.
I remember that because the wrestling move named that. That's the only way I can keep a hold of it.
Really? Because I didn't think you'd seen this. That's why I put it in. And
Well, I know the quote. Yeah, it goes up to 11.
thought that'd be your tricky one that everybody else would know. But okay. Yeah. But you're going to ace this. Simpsons. There's only one fat guy that brings us presents, and his name ain't Santa.
Bart. I think it's
Right.
the first episode.
What was it?
I think so anyway, because it's the Christmas one.
Oh, loneliness and cheeseburgers are a dangerous mix.
Homer. Why not?
Nah. Anybody?
Nah.
Comic book guy.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
Oh, Mrs. Lovejoy.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Forgot her name.
Damn.
I just know this.
So, with a round to go.
Got her name. Come on, no, he's not got Kieran. He's not got. We can't
There's
let
no
him
point in
play
giving him the Back to the Future question. He's only one.
You know what? No, give me it, Dad. Give me it, Dad. So,
Right, okay.
Tarek, so Steph went 14. Tarek went 32. I'm gonna go 33.
Like you've put that.
Oh,
in as well.
Price is right. Play like Price is Right.
It's
Slightly
30,
unbeating.
it's 37.
Yes.
Do you want your Back to the Future ones anyway? Just to rub it in.
Yeah,
Yeah. Why not?
we'll do
Right,
it.
okay.
Fastest finger first.
Right, Back to the Future. Oh, this is heavy, Doc. I mean, it's like I was here just yesterday. You were here yesterday, Mary.
Is that 2?
Correct.
I don't know. Yeah.
Remember where you're going. There are no roads.
Right. 2 again, yes, because it's not. He says something different in the first one. Where you're going, don't need roads. So I'm guessing that was 2, maybe 3. I'll say 2.
It's 3.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa, wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that my mother has got the hots for me?
That's number 1. Yeah.
Well done. So, kicked ass, does. Keeps the Krusty credentials up there.
Well done.
Stealth, the quiz master, cannot
Fell apart under the pressure.
Yeah.
He gets zen like.
Don't worry, Stealth. Stealth, you can
Yeah.
rewind it and then do the questions again, and
And then
then
we'll do it.
Yeah.
And then still lose.
do it, Frank.
Yeah.
Right, okay, up
Well done,
next,
Daz.
we'll go on to Back to the
Thank you.
Future. Well done, Daz.
Mhm.
Great Scott! That's it. We're here and ready to start chatting about Back to the Future. It was a absolute smash hit back in 1985. The 4th of December was when it was released in the UK. So it was, it was huge in America. And back in 1985, they were getting their films released about 6 months before us, but we were doing quite well. So when it got released in the UK, number one in America was Rocky IV, which was an absolute blinder of a film.
All timer, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. For our number one in the UK, we've got "I'm Your Man" by Wham. So Stealth, because you're the special guest, you get to give a wee blast of that one if you like. Can you remember that?
I do.
Yeah, a wee bit of Wham.
Baby,
I'm your man.
I'm your man. But that. There you go.
Oh, there
Beautiful.
you go.
Terrible.
Made me tingle there, mate.
This is becoming like Only Connect, where the host gets the guest to sing songs.
Dance, monkey boy, dance.
So this weekend, I mean, it was a good time for one, Spielberg, and two, just for any moviegoers. 4th of December 1985, our number one was The Santa Claus, which we've discussed, or Kieran had as his number one Santa Claus movie.
Best
So that was
Santa
number
ever.
one. And number two in the UK box office was The Goonies. And then those two got dethroned by Back to the Future. So 1, 2, and 3. I mean, look at that. That's a lineup and a half of blinding movies.
Don't make them out used to.
It's a glorious time.
No, glad I was only one and a month old when these came out. No, I was just trying to get a quick idea of where everybody was with watching the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So I've loved Back to the Future for a good 3 decades, or whenever I first watched it. And I've like we mentioned at the tail end of the last podcast, I love all 3 of the movies. I think you can't do one without continuing on and moving on to the next 2. So I've tried my best to get my daughter to watch this, to kind of move her on to bring her an amazing film and get her into this massive trilogy, which gets referenced constantly. You see it all over the place. So that's where I was wanting to kind of go back and watch it, which proved a bit more difficult to get her to sit down and watch a film. But yeah, I managed to watch it, and I think it's still kept the test of time for me. It's done really well. What about you guys? Where are you when you kind of watched it, and how many times have you rewatched it, or Darren watched the second and third one again?
I kind of grew up with this film. It's really good. Listeners will know my views on the second and third one. I don't think they stand up as well, especially the third one, but the first one, untouchable. So yeah, I've watched it so many times, but yeah, it's always an adventure. There's always a playing with the emotions, or there's always like some tension that gets built up and it's paid off, or there's always a danger, a catastrophe. It's always going somewhere. So yeah, it's great.
Stealth, how did you? Made you
Well,
pick it?
Well, I spoke to Kieran about sort of some of the films you've done. say a lot of them were sort of 2010-ish. So I thought, which we might go a bit nostalgic, a bit retro. First film that came to mind was Back to the Future. It was a film that I grew up with. I remember going to the cinema to see the second and third films when I was little, and then sort of like Dan grew up with through the years, sort of watch every so often, and then having kids now. My youngest Monroe is 5 now, and for the last 2 years has religiously watched this film. I must see at least the first one 5-6 times a month. The second and third one's probably just as often as well. It's just a film he's latched on to. He loves everything about it. He's got the toys, he's got action figures, T-shirts, you name it, he's got it. It's the sort of his obsession. So, yeah, to see that as well and something I grew up with was just fantastic.
Speaking of Back to the Future T-shirt stuff, what you got on?
I'm rocking one of my Back to the Future T-shirts that was a Father's Day present a couple of years ago, as you can see right there. Very proud of that.
I'm going to see that again.
Are you taking a picture of your screen?
Right on the Facebook.
I've probably seen this less times than your Bairns stuff. In fact, it's definitely true. Seen a few, until I kind of caught up with for this. I couldn't really tell you too much what happens in it. I've seen the second one a couple of times recently, and it's kind of weird because I feel like I've seen the first one because of that. You know, the references with the skateboard scene and all that sort of shit. Like, I know that's referencing the first film. There's loads of it. And I'm like, wow, I kind of feel like I've seen it. But, loads of the plot points are just like, it was kind of discovering again felt like the first time. So, okay, it's good. Kind of getting up to date with all the references that I've seen in countless other TV shows over the years. So, I don't know the film inside out, but Stone Cold classic, as I've said.
Yeah,
I think it's not the perfect film. It's not a perfect trilogy by any stretch of the imagination. But to me, as a trilogy, the way it's planned out and sort of structured and overall arc of it, I think it's as close to a perfect trilogy as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I love about it is because there's so many the references that just brings you right back to it. It's a good thing and a bad thing, because it could be once you've seen the first one, then you know exactly what's going to be happening in the second one. You've got that aspect of it, but then you've also got the aspect of the story is still storyline strong enough for it to have just those little in jokes between each film. So you can see it two ways, that it's kind of the same type of film that's constantly bringing up the same type of jokes and references, or it's just a well-written trilogy which kind of brings everything full circle all the time. I like to think of it as the latter, just a shit-hot trilogy that you need to have in your life at some point.
Me and Steph were talking off air about how did Marty meet Doc, because that's one of the plot points I was kind of looking forward to finding out. But I was actually quite disappointed when pretty much the very first scene is him, Marty going into Doc's house and shouting her, "Doc, where are you?" I'm like, oh fuck, they already know each other.
But that's not when he first meets him.
Well, tell me.
So he first meets him in 1985. So I was thinking about that as well. When I was rewatching it there.
No. Kieran's going about to start the film.
So in 55 even. So I was thinking that. I was thinking about the relationship with Doc and Marty. Why is that so kind of needed, and why is an old guy palling about with this young boy? But because Marty has went back in time, met Doc in 1955 and said, "You're going to make a time machine," and then fucks off a couple of weeks later, even through the whole trilogy, or a month later, then Doc, I reckon, has got to build that relationship with Marty to make sure that he knows that he's going to have that build that time machine. So because he's went back to that time frame, Doc's now needing to have that relationship with Marty, so he potentially could be forcing it.
No, I disagree with that because that's in a different timeline, Tarek. That's still in the timeline where his dad's getting bullied and everything like that. Like by him going back, that creates a whole new different timeline. So in the original timeline, he didn't go back. So they've met before the movie starts, but so him going back in time creates a whole different new universe. Because
you don't know if that's the only timeline.
That's right. Darren's right.
Because Doc's been doing a lot of different time hopping throughout the years as well.
Now you're getting into like Rick and Morty, where every episode could be a different universe or whatever.
Can I clear up for you?
Right, go for it.
Right, on you.
Because I mentioned this as well. I think Tarek, I can see where you're coming from, but I think you're probably going into the time travel mechanics a bit too much. Right? See, the film does sort of take a simplistic view of time travel, but at some point, Marty has to meet Doc first of all before all this time travel stuff can happen. And it is actually there was a comic created to let you know what happened, and essentially it was Marty had broken into Doc's lab one day, and Doc discovered him and made Marty work off the debt by helping him run the lab, and they formed a friendship from that. And then, obviously, that's when the start of the film kicks off and everything happens from there. But again, they don't really get into the whole alternative timelines and split realities and stuff until the second one. The first one is sort of a very simplistic time travel.
It is simplistic, and it's kind of probably the better because, like, you can get pretty complicated in these things. But there has to have been a time where they didn't meet in 55 to set this in motion. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't have always first met.
Yeah.
There'd been a time before the time machine was invented. And then, but that's the start of the film, isn't it? That's the start of part one. Time machine hasn't been invented yet, or hasn't been tested yet. And for the first time, this is it being tested, and then all this shit kicks in. Anyway, okay. This is going to be tougher for you.
If we just stick to the simplistic time travel things, we'll not get too complicated. We'll just stick to
time travel's no simplistic.
I know it isn't, but in this film it is, and they don't try to get too complicated with it, which helps it somewhat. If my 5-year-old can understand it, then we're doing fine.
That's what makes it so accessible and such a classic. Is they don't have they do explain things in the movie, but they do it in pretty plain English and stuff like that. They're like, okay, so we got to do this. Okay, so we don't have the plutonium, but there's lightning, so that'll work instead.
Yeah.
So it's not. We need to convert this energy into this, and we got to do this and over that. It's like no, the lightning will work. It's very visual.
Yeah.
The lightning.
Yeah.
Even the butterfly effect thing of him going back in time and effectively stopping his parents getting together. So that is there where he's changing the past will affect his future. But again, when you go to the very end of the film, spoilers in case you've not, for the one person in the world that's not seen it, that when he wakes up, he's in the same house, his brother and sister are still there, certain things are the same, but obviously a lot's changed. Whereas if that was real, then there'd been a hell of a lot of things changed. He'd be a completely different person. Everything would be different to him. So they say for storytelling purposes, they leave some things out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of setup in this movie, and one of them is like Lorraine telling him about the first time her and George met, which is when George falls out the tree and gets hit by her dad's car. And when you see that happening, but oh no, it's Marty, you're already putting the pieces together before it's even being said. Because you're like, oh wait, if George didn't get hit by it, then the first time gets messed up, and Marty's taking his, like, even before you even have to say it or show it, like Lorraine meeting Marty, you're already thinking it, like, because it's been told to you before. So it's very smart how they set it all up.
I even like see the first scene where it's kind of panning across all the clocks. There's one clock where you've got a guy dangling from a clock tower. We just picked that up there. I was like, oh, look at that. That's fucking pretty decent. I like these little. I mean, that's the thing. I've seen it that many times, and these little things you can still pick up on. Spielberg at his finest.
Well, that's the one thing I love about the trilogy. Say the small things that you pick up to do, the sort of foreshadowing things, setting things up, the wee things that changed, like in the first film, it's at the start it's called the Twin Pines Mall. When Marty escapes the barn, he runs down one numbers, and then it's the Lone Pines Mall. It's the wee things like that you might not notice the first time, but second, third, fourth viewing, and then second and third one are exactly the same. They set things up, are mentioned, and then they pay off and down the line. That's why I think, it just all flows nicely across not just the one film, but across the three of them.
Right, so the film starts obviously set in 1985. So it's set then as well, isn't it? So it came out then, it's set then, pretty much.
Yeah, makes sense.
Aye, pretty much. Bang on, actually. Marty McFly, teenager living in Hill Valley, California. You see his dad, he's kind of cowardly dad, George, bullied by his supervisor, Biff Tannen. His mum, Lorraine, is kind of like an alcoholic. His siblings are kind of social failures, really, than really aspiring to be much. Yeah. He wants to be in a band, but he's rejected for a music contest by four of the people that you would probably least want to judge a fucking rock and roll concert. You
say that, but in the trivia, sorry to cut you off, apparently, the Huey Lewis in the News has been playing throughout. According to IMDb trivia, that Huey Lewis is the guy saying that their music's too loud.
Is he sort of fucking? There's what I go.
But obviously, he's parodying the people that would hate his music.
Yeah, and he confides in his girlfriend Jennifer Parker about fears of becoming like his parents, despite his ambitions. There's a line like the fear of rejection and don't want people to say that your stuff's bad and all that sort of thing. So see, they've met in the parking mall lot, and he shows them the time machine built from modified DeLorean, and he says, "Oh, I need more plutonium because how am I going to get back?" I take it he gets shot before he manages to kind of put some reserve into the car.
Yeah,
he never quite makes it, and this is why he's when he does move. And the fact that it's 55. November 5th, 1955 was kind of just almost a coincidence, because he was just saying this is an example of a time you can go to, and that's the last one that you happen to have put in, and that's where Marty ends up going when he's...
Because that's a date that meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
But a quick note on the... Yeah, sorry. But a quick note on the DeLorean, but writers Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis actually received a fan letter from John DeLorean after the film's release, thanking them for immortalizing his car. So there's a lot of gratitude shown after you make your car one of the most famous things in film history.
Yeah.
But everyone wanted the DeLorean after seeing this.
I think that was the one. Just to say, if I choose an iconic car, something that was famous and sort of everyone had it, wouldn't have been the same thing. Whether it's the DeLorean being the sort of story that it was, and the failure that it was, it sort of made it something else and molded it into something else completely. Well, it was funny because it wasn't actually meant to be a car originally. They were going to do a fridge, I believe, was the original concept for how they were going to transport. But then they were worried about kids getting into fridges to play sort of time travel. Then it was a fridge, but obviously, the mums and dads were kicked up about that, so they had to change it.
The kids can jump into mum and dad's car, and that's safer. Just take the.
Well, that's on the parents at that point. A fridge is accessible, but
true.
I like the line from Lorraine's dad as well when he says, of George McFly getting knocked over. What were you doing? No, was it even her dad? But yeah, somebody says to George, "What were you doing when you got run over? Were you bird watching?" It turns out he was. The kind of bird that you would necessarily think of it. And
there's another good line at that point where the dad hits him, and he says, "Oh, I've just hit another one of those damn kids."
Yeah.
Like, this is a common thing. I'm constantly hitting these kids. 1955. Fuck yeah, on you go. Just keep hitting the kids in the street.
He gives $1. Run along.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I did like all the little lines that gave me a chuckle. Was like Lorraine's dad's like, "Oh, I hope you never have a kid like him," or something like that. And those little lines that just reference
I thought he was
what's actually going on. Yeah. Or when one of the funniest bit is because they have an uncle who's a jailbird, and so Marty sees him as a kid in a crib. And he goes up to him and just mugs him off by saying, "Well, you better get used to these bars, kid." Which is completely unnecessary, but he just mugs off a baby. So,
I suppose
all the way through.
You're not really sure how much time he's really spent with this Joey, because it's like, oh, he's not getting up again. It's not getting up again. So you're kind of thinking that it's maybe all he's known is for his Uncle Joey to be a jailbird.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's just setup after setup throughout this movie. Just every single line just seems to be something else that's just the way it happened in the future, or what's just referencing to different people throughout the Marty's history, which is it's really well written in that way.
What do you think of then about Marty meeting his mum and that whole will they, won't they? I mean,
it's very weird.
It's super
and
weird.
it's very 80s, and you can write that today, but I'm sure it was innocent because of like this is what his dad like did, and there's the path they're on, but now he's back, he's messing all up. But then you get into the reality of the situation, you're like,
yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
And
you sort
so
of-
many levels there, Dan. I like that.
You sort of don't want to think about this too much, do you? You just kind of want to, on the surface level, this is part of the plot. I just don't want to.
Just kind of look past that.
Because if you do, man, this whole Oedipus thing is just fucking nuts.
And I said to you, like, because we watched it on Sky, and there's like a rating for like positive role models in the film,
Yeah.
and it was like 4 or 5 stars. I'm like, do they remember the plan? Like later on in the movie, Marty's gonna like put the moves on his mum against her will.
Against the will,
And
yeah.
for his, it's like, how's he a positive role model when he's throwing around ideas like this?
Yeah.
But yeah.
What do you guys think of that then, Stealth?
No, yeah, it's definitely of a time. It's definitely like a sort of an 80s feel to that, where it was a bit. I say when you watch it when you're younger, you didn't really understand the connotations of it. It's something you sort of realise as you get older, watch it again, and that's when you sort of feel, that was maybe a bit untoward. That when we should have changed that up somewhat. But again, it's there. It's part of the film now.
Are you expecting any like awkward questions for the kids once they start?
No, I think they'll pretty much be like kind of the same as me, where again they'll come of an age where they'll realise what it is, but it's not going to take too much away from the film overall.
I've seen the film that much that
it's not a big thing. Again, they have one moment where she tries to kiss him, and instantly she goes, "Oh, this is weird." And it's not, I think more of it, it's not weird. She fancies him as such. Again, it's a new guy in town. So it's an outsider, like new guy in school. Seems that he's different from everybody else, and that's the way I've always kind of looked at it. Where she's got a wee crush on him, and then she tries to kiss him, and it's not.
It's over quite quickly, you know. It moves quite quickly to the next person who happens to be George.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the 80s, I mean, it's really weird to have that type of relationship in a movie where most of the 80s films, they've got just a stunning female actress, which is going to be everybody sought after, but then they chuck in this mother-son relationship in there to then make it weird as fuck. So, I mean, you've got Dirty Dancing and all this type of movies that are kind of built, and a lot of the movies have got to have that heart, the one actress that they're going to want the guys going to the cinema to adore over. So that's definitely.
What I said to Kieran earlier was something you noticed about this film and other films is, although Marty's one main character, like it's not Marty's story. Like the first one's George's story. Marty's essentially the cog in the works. He's sort of messed things up for them. So he's us watching it and trying to fix things for his parents, and he's sort of ended up in the middle of it. And then obviously the second film becomes this film, the third film becomes Stoltz film. So again, Marty is essentially, he's here for everything, but he's not our main character, he's just along for the ride with us. And I think, and it shows in this one where he's trying his best to make up for the mistake he's made, and he kind of makes it worse at points, and essentially turns it on the end and makes it better.
So we're at the point where Marty kind of tracks down a younger Doc and convinces him that he's from the future and that he's made the time machine and so on. Obviously, by this point, he's did what he shouldn't have done is interfered with like current events. But
options at that point. There's one person that'll help him. So
yeah, I quite liked Marty's sort of moral compass here, in that these are the rules, and you must not fuck up. Not Marty, the Doc. Sorry, you know, these are the rules. You can't really fuck about with people's timelines and everything like that. Even to the point where he was like, I don't care even if like it's going to result in a bad thing. Don't tell me about the future. Don't tell me. I'd rather not know. You're upset. Obviously, later on, he kind of, because I think his relationship with Marty gets to a stage where he's like, well, I kind of better trust this guy because I really like him, and he's obviously
trust him more than anything.
Yeah. But initially, it's like, and that sort of mantra, he sticks with it. So I quite like that.
I think the fun one with Doc is that they lay down the rules nice and early, and it's like this is what we're doing with the time travel. This is the rules we've got. This is what we're going to stick to. I said, for somebody who's just invented time travel as Doc has, it'd be quite easy for them to say, right, you could just go nuts and do what he wants. But straight away, he's got to think of, no, I'm a scientist. We're going to do it properly. We'll have to establish these rules at the start. And I said that, and that works through the film and essentially the trilogy. So I like that part of it where I say the rules are established early and they're stuck to for the most part.
See how he does, though, mention that he might bet and win loads of money on the Baseball World Series. Does he follow through with any of that? Does he take advantage of?
No, I don't think he does.
That's the plot of the second one. That's how Biff gets so rich.
Mm-hmm.
Because he goes in the future, gets all the record books of all the games, and tells his younger self to bet on all of them.
So he does, yeah.
So I don't know if they had that planned when that line was written, but like that's what ends up happening with Biff. So someone has that idea. So
which you would, to be honest.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Oh, massively. It's the first thing I'd be doing.
I think they would actually just ban you at a certain point. You know what I mean? Like if you, like bookies and stuff, they're just not let you in.
You mean to Tara, you wouldn't go back and try and get it off your mum now?
I knew that was going to be that line. I was thinking, should I say it to you, Kieran, Darren, or Stell? Oh, I was going to get it, Stell. Jackie, Fiona.
So late to the punch.
Oh, definitely. No, I wouldn't be doing that, Kieran, to answer your question. But I thought the exact same where when that line got chucked out there, that he was going to go back and do make himself rich. Oh, why wouldn't you? I know we're going for the simplistic look of the timeline, but I still think that there could be rules bent left, right and centre for the pair of them.
You're not really altering anything there. You're not changing the course of history. You're just predicting it.
Leaving a betting slip where the bland on.
But it's kind of what you do with it, because Biff and his evil intentions uses that to like grab power and like become like a Trump-esque tycoon.
Yeah, essentially Donald Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, before he was president, so it's not political to say that, but yeah. So if you were just to get rich and just live in the Bahamas or something like that, I doubt that would change much. But it's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, no, I suppose there's always consequences because what you do with that money, I suppose. Yeah. Well, Stealth earlier, you said that the thing's quite visual in its consequences and stuff like that, and like none really more so than the picture, the photograph that he's got of him and his brother and sister, which disappear the more or less that, or come back the more or less that his mum and dad sort of try and get it on. What a strange like concept as well. Like everybody knows, like they grow up, you find out about the birds and the bees, and you kind of try and pretend that your mum and dad didn't. And everything like that, right? But his whole like, I really need to get it on here.
But yeah, it's framed in the true love way.
Yeah,
and it's all fairy tale and sunshine. It's not, it's graphic.
And again, it's still based on that there's one specific moment in 1955. There's one kiss on this one dance floor. There's one time.
And that's it.
Yeah, and if it doesn't get here, then I've never got another chance.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't arrange a date for the next day to make up for it, but no, it had to be this time. That was it. Yeah. But I do like that you're going with the visualization of the picture. That's for movie telling purposes, and for us as an audience, that's a great example to show how close he is and how desperate he is to make sure that he gets them together. And also when they start disappearing from the picture and his hands start disappearing, that gives us sort of a bit of panic, thinking that it may not work out for him, but obviously it does in the end. But then again, when you think about it, even then, if you go too much into it, would the picture even exist itself for them to start disappearing from? But
I was just thinking then, which order would it be as well?
Well, I think because he's the youngest, he'd have the best chance of being alive in the future.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wouldn't he be like... They're more likely to have one than three. So wouldn't it be the first... Yeah, I don't know.
No.
But then again, you've got all
I should have just been everybody at the same time.
Probably.
But then he would have just died. You know what I mean? It needs to be this ticking clock element for the film.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, we get that. But we're talking physics.
I guess it's
theoretical physics of time travel on a simple playing field.
In the physics, he wouldn't have a picture in his hand. The picture would have been taken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, they'll stick with the most simplistic storytelling method so that the audience can follow along, and it works. It does a job. It's there for.
Definitely. Like what? We're nearly going through the film. So we'll stop here and we'll just talk about someone else. What do you think about the product placement in this then? Because it's wide scale.
Diet Pepsi, Coca-Cola kicking about, DeLorean.
Where's the Mountain Dew? Is that just on the table?
That's on the when he's at the start and he's on the back of the guy's Jeep.
Uh-huh.
And the guy's that's specifically it's a Mountain Dew hat. It's very big and it's like flashing.
Okay, right, yeah.
You see it.
I don't know how much they're making from this.
I've got two sort of like I hate it when it's it's pretty obnoxiously thrown at you in the film, even to the point where he's drinking the Diet Pepsi. Like, he makes sure the label is 100% at the camera. His hands not covering any of it, and even if it's a quite awkward way to hold a can, he would do it as if it's a fucking commercial.
Yeah.
But I think for this film, unlike others, it sets the scene of the 80s, and if you were in America and the West in the 80s. It was everywhere, this sort of stuff, this advertising. Mm-hmm. Not that it's not now, but it was obnoxious. A new thing there. It was obnoxious and it was in your face and it was sort of driving lifestyles. So it definitely sets the scene, because then when he goes back to the 50s, there's different adverts and immediately takes you to a time. So again, visual, very easy, quickly gets you there. And so I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very egregious in part 2 because they have the special type of Pepsi, the future Pepsi, and then they have the self-tying shoes and stuff like that. And then when it came to 2015, I think, when the movie is set, like those products were actually released as a big like, oh my god, it's this time about the future. And then Michael J. Fox going on a talk show wearing the self-tying shoes and everything.
Yeah,
like. That's where it gets egregious and it bleeds over to real life.
I mean, it's that much. I was surprised at one point they didn't use Pepsi to kind of power the DeLorean, because it's just
you just go through the rubbish.
They use the beer, don't they? They use the beer on in part 2. But I can't. I'm guessing it was Budweiser that they would have.
I guess it'd be because offensive to see your product in the trash. You know what I mean? Used as rubbish.
No, but Doesn't matter. I wouldn't care if you're pulling in this amount of audience and they're saying that, if I put Budweiser in my car, it's going to make us go back to blah, blah, blah. Just drive 88 miles an hour down the Kingsway. Yeah, hand the Bud.
But speaking of people that kind of do that and stuff, it's saying here that some of the people actually went to, on October 26, 1985, a group of people showed up at the mall used to film the Twin Pines Mall location to see if Marty would arrive in the DeLorean. And of course, they're not. So they went to the scene where it becomes the Lone Pine Mall, and they want him to come in and save Doc from the whole shooting thing. So a group of people actually went, but it didn't happen because
a bunch of fannies.
So it just shows you how many people it was affected by. Another one is Jordan Akashi and Michael J. Fox said strangers will just call him McFly, just shout at him randomly. And the weirdest instance was that he was in a remote jungle in South Asian country Bhutan. Bhutan.
Bhutan, yeah.
Shout out to any listeners from there. A group of Buddhist monks passed him, and one of them looked at Fox and said, "Marty McFly." So
that is madness.
Back to the Future, big with monks.
It's such a shame about Michael J. Fox, because I thought I've always loved Michael J. Fox. You've done, what was it, Spin City?
Spin City, yeah.
Channel 4 sitcom thing. Done that in the 90s, and I think that was the last thing that I really kind of seen him in. But he was always a good actor, and then he got hit with Parkinson. He's had quite a lot of other diseases as well, or broken legs and things like this on the back of it. Well, broken legs, that's a real minimal thing.
Is that because
he's talking about?
As a result of his Parkinson's, he's just kind of fallen?
No, it was I can't remember. I think I seen it on an Oprah interview that he was getting done. Or it must have been Oprah.
Yeah, well, the big hopes.
Can't wait till we get on her sitcom, or she's sitting down in sitcom? Get on her couch. And she's interviewing us on the Krusty Third Nipple podcast. Oh, it went so global. I think
just on the topic of Michael J. Fox, as you raised him there, he obviously wasn't the original Marty McFly, and when they originally started the film, it was a different actor, and they filmed a good portion of the movie, and you can still see scenes where the original actor's still in it.
Oh, really?
And just thinking, it was Eric Stoltz was the original actor, because they tried to get Michael J. Fox, but he was filming Family Ties at the time, the sitcom he was in the 80s. So I think it was maybe 3 months worth of filming was done with Eric Stoltz in the role, and it just wasn't working out. And then they went back to Michael J. Fox again and negotiated with the TV company to release him a film. So for the whole production of this film, basically he was filming Family Ties during the day and Back to the Future at night. So he was working like 18-hour days for like 6 months to get this done.
Right.
Wow.
And so the scenes that are just like cuts of people who were speaking to the first actor. Yeah,
essentially there's scenes where I think where when he wakes up in his mum's bed, that was filmed separately where he's talking to her and certain scenes in that. According to Thomas Wilson, who plays Biff, the scene in the diner where Marty punches him, it's actually Eric Stoltz that punches him, because they didn't film together. So there's certain scenes where the original act just for supposed to save money and it's already done.
Yeah, release the Stoltz cut. Release the Stoltz cut.
I just done a quick Google search there at Alex Schultz, and the first couple of images is him standing next to Doc, looking at his watch on the street where the lightning's away to strike.
I mean, that must be the life of an actor, but fucking hell, what a fall, eh? Oh. Jesus.
You're this close to being the most iconic movies of all time.
But again, that's something similar as with Crispin Glover in the second film. Crispin Glover played George McFly, because he never came back to the second film, but the character's still there. And they used they basically used to look alike and molded his face to look like Kristen Glover. And then that became a thing in Hollywood where he sued because they used his likeness without his say-so, and that then became sort of an act of law now. So that was,
okay.
Strange things. And that's the reason that Marty McFly ended up playing his own grandfather in the third one, because obviously that was a bit random that he was playing married to his Leah Thompson, who played his mother, because obviously George McFly can't wasn't back for that either.
Wonder why he didn't.
Yeah.
Just busy.
Well, apparently he wasn't happy with the end of the first film. The producer said that he asked for the same amount of money as Michael J. Fox, which sounds a bit insane for him to ask for the same money as the star. But then Crispin Glover claims the reason he didn't come back was he was unhappy with the end of the film because he felt like at the end of the film, Marty was rewarded with monetary rewards. Like he got the truck, his mum and dad were rich and sort of well-to-do.
Yeah.
And he thought that the overall reward should have been love rather than money. So
yes, that's a fair point. Yeah. I mean, you could have had
to what you're saying with Marty not being the main character. You could have said it's George, and he gets to be the more assertive man. You know, I think that's more the reward. I guess Marty gets a truck, and Biff's they're all like goof, but I don't know.
His dad's got confidence. And
he
kind of push on with his life a lot more.
That is a lot weird.
Just gives him the money, so that's
it's very family film, very 80s that they keep Biff around, even though he tries to rape Lorraine. I say that to that makes me feel weird, but it's the show the comeuppance. I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and he's now worse than George ever was, and I get that, and it sets up the sequels because he doesn't want to be like that anymore.
But at the same time, like Marty's dad ends up being a bit of a dick to Biff. Like, what's the worst crime here? Like, no, wait a minute. I'm thinking
is that a message of itself? Though? Like, whenever you get to lord it over someone, you'll just
for so long though,
control.
Because then a lot of this, in terms of like the length of time in this new timeline, he's a dick to him in high school. This happens at the dance, and he's got that pull over him. So like 30 years later, and he still does. Like, let it go, man.
Yeah. He's a bigger man.
I agree. I can see his point. And you could have had the fact that the dad was more assertive, was more in love, was more affectionate, had like happier kids or happier family life without the money and without lording over Biff. Oh yeah, I can see that.
You didn't even
easily done that.
You don't really need Biff in the last couple of scenes, do you? Maybe if they drove past him and he was doing something, just a kind of just a wee
nod,
glimpse, and you miss it.
A wee nod, to kind of finish the story and all that.
Yeah, it does put a more of a nastier taste of the character that he's he's become a bully himself. So if you get confident, if you get confidence, you're going to be a bully.
And you're successful because of that.
And successful because So you can't be successful without being a prick.
Can't be a territory.
Root of all evil.
Right, let's go back to the dance then. So his plan has worked to a certain extent because Biff's out of the picture, and he finds himself on the stage, does he, playing the guitar because he needs to play a song called The Kiss. Again, just a weird thing, but let's skip over that. Darren, you asked me when we were watching it last night that you weren't really sure the significance of the call from I can't remember, somebody Berry to his cousin Chuck. In terms of
Marvin.
Is it Marvin? Yeah, Marvin Berry. Oh, you're looking for this new sound. What's this? Yeah, because Chuck Berry wrote that and performed that. Trying to be good, like one of the de facto classic rock and roll hits, and Marty's kind of performing his ass off, doing like he kind of references Chuck Berry a wee bit with his guitar playing. The way he's kind of shuffling along. He does Pete Townsend from The Who. He does like windmills. Jimi Hendrix playing behind the back, AC/DC playing on the floor, probably a bit of Van Halen in there with the big fucking licks in the solos. It's just 80s in a nutshell, really. And obviously he's like,
and he's kicking the speakers and everything.
Too early for this.
Yeah, your kids are going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, rock and roll's just become a thing, and Marty's giving it the big old 80s full on headbanging licks.
I would say it just speaks to the 50s stuck up in this as well, that they just stand there and have no idea, they're just bewildered. Like,
unless it's a slow jam where we're actually holding their girl close and singing "Love Me Tenders, Love Me Do." I think that's even a bit too past the 50s. It's all got to be stiff neck stuff in the 50s.
Yeah.
You've got to have the bit in the middle to make it make sense, haven't you? You've got to have had the 60s and 70s to get that outlandish music.
The fact that he's just sitting there, just looking at the photograph, waiting on them, kind of getting their wee necky on the school dance to make sure that he's going to be alive in the future.
Yeah, so
it's job
done. Job done. All that up there. On you go.
Just since you raised about the music, well, I've not said it yet, but the theme tune. That's just the theme tune as a whole, or the score as a whole for the film. That's iconic in itself. When you hear that first bar coming, you know exactly what's coming, and it's just it's brilliant. But even that alone, I mean, the music running through the film, you go the 80s, and it's quintessential. It's Huey Lewis. He's got a couple of songs in there, and then you go through the 50s, and then, as I said, the orchestral score itself. I mean, throughout it, it's just it hits every note. And anybody watching it from that 50s era will get nostalgia, and in the 80s will have that.
Very whimsical, yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So we've got a job done there, and we're back at what is it, kind of like the courthouse, is it?
Yeah.
It's the main square, yeah. Because that square, I love how in each movie you've got his walk around the square, and you see all the, like you mentioned, all the advertisings and the same things that he sees each time that he kind of goes round. Well, somebody going, you see somebody walking on spring shoes, and then they're on rollerblades, and then they're on the
hoverboards and
hoverboards. Yeah, exactly.
Then on horseback and the third.
So it's always good to kind of. I love that scene where he's kind of going through the square, and you're able to pick out little things from each movie and go back and forth between them, and that's the best place. That's what Back to the Future is. That's
spot.
Oh fucking yeah! In the lightning bolt that's wait, fucking rain.
I guess quite ropey for a second there, because like you've got Doc literally hanging by a thread. You know, he's still ripping, he's trying to hold on to the wire, and Marty's run out of fucking gas in the DeLorean. So what, he just like headbutts the fucking steering wheel and it's fine again. That seems to be how that one.
That was an 1855 equivalent of switching off and on again.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I said to you because the initial wire doesn't work, and because the fallen trees and stuff, so he has to rope a certain second bit around the actual clock itself, the actual like the ticks. And I said I wonder if that is what kind of does in the clock this time. You know, it makes it like kind of stop.
Yeah.
In this,
He's just kind of jammed it.
It drives it even worse, but I do love that in the initial kind of work through the little diorama they have. Marty just kind of goes off into the car, just goes right into the cinema, and like, and you're like, oh no, how's that going to happen in real life? But no, he crashes straight into it as well. There's no holding back. It's not like magically he's okay. He's still it goes straight head first into the cinema.
That was something that I picked up on the first season. First time he goes traveling back in time. See, when he's driving away from the where are they from? The guys that are shooting them anyway.
The Libyans.
Libyans.
Aye. When you see him driving, he's driving right at a fucking house or a wee shack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Where
like
he could have went left or right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And apparently he didn't know that he's going to go back in time. So I was thinking,
What was he doing
why
that for?
the fuck is he driving? Yeah, why the fuck are you driving in the fucking wee shack for, you wee prick? They're just trashing fucking new time machine, and Kenny's just died. But I mean, you could have made some money here, mate. Get past these guys.
I thought
just drive at 87 mile an hour away from these boys, and you'll be golden. Anyway, sorry.
I see another thing that kind of gets me with car chase scenes in general, right? Is he says, well, let's see if you guys could do 90, and then he seems to just like for the first time put his foot on the accelerator or something. You know, it's that whole thing about you're led to believe that at that point in time that car's going at its peak fastest, right? There's nothing else that this boy could do because he's giving it the face, he's gripping the steering wheel, and he's like, nah, suddenly I can go up a gear. Well, fucking do it then. Get there, get fast now. Get like loads of films doing this. I'm not just going to go this film.
Oh no, it's every film.
But the car that's chasing them is like a Volkswagen fucking.
Yeah.
What are they called? It's a
the Volkswagen
camper van.
A camper van. That's it.
Camper van.
Camper van.
The mystery machine.
That boy's not getting out at 60.
No.
you see the speedometer rising up rapidly. It's like, nah, he's gone.
It definitely kind of take the corners that the DeLorean can take as well. No, that's it would just roll like near the skate park.
I don't know why they didn't give them a better car.
Because they had to set up the gag with the spaceship when he crashes back into the barn, and the wee boy's got his comic and it looks like a spaceship. That was the only car available.
No, but I'm on about the
Libyans.
Sorry.
How could they not give them a kind of Batmobile or something?
They're short on money, right? They spent a lot of money to get the plutonium, and then Doc Brown ripped them off.
And the rocket launcher was the name of my list.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, one scene I felt is quite heartwarming. It's heart-wrenching and heartwarming as he runs back to the Lone Pine Mall because the car's totaled because of the time travel again, and he gets there and he sees Doc Brown getting shot and himself doing the old time travel for the first time, and he gets there and he's over his dead body and thinking, oh God, no, he didn't read my letter, he didn't read it, he's too stubborn, he's too set in his ways. But then he actually did. He believed in him and he trusted him over the consequences of who knows what. But Doc Brown trusted Marty that much that he'd go against his own kind of rules to read the letter, and eventually save his life. So, but can you imagine being in this new timeline anyway, Doc Brown, and throughout this whole time of knowing, Marty, you know you're about to get shot, and you can't tell him that you're actually going to be okay. You know what I mean?
See, to like maybe just annoy every one of you, but he goes back 10 minutes earlier or something like that to try and warn Doc, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And Marty exists in this timeline because he's is that presumably because he's not went back exactly the same time as he left?
Because he saw him do the time travel,
yeah. And so in this timeline, that Marty should come back, shouldn't he not? Or does he go back 10 minutes earlier?
What do you mean?
Well, Marty's the original Marty's there, and he's seen like 10 minutes ago Marty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do his thing and then time travel away. But in that timeline, does he go? What I'm trying to say again, I've probably seen too many Rick and Mortys. Yeah. Are they going to come back and interact again?
Well, no, that
he just take his
place. That becomes a new
because then he's moving on. Yeah.
So just don't worry about it. Just carry on.
Yeah, I think the first thing, obviously, that's
kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Aye. But maybe go back again. Give yourself another 10 minutes. Give yourself a day.
You can
Go
have
to Disney World for a wee bit, and then go and stop it. Aye.
Yeah.
Once you've got time travel in there, you've got infinite possibilities.
One more gripe we've got, right? Again, just like nitpicking.
Take all your days gripe about this movie.
Yeah. Any movie is just like, oh.
Right. But listen, here's it.
Not perfect.
Right? Here is it. Listen. Right. So he is back in 55 with his GVC camcorder. Okay. And TVs in 55 were led to believe that's the first TV they've had.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe not the first TV Doc's had, and this is what able to work with the JCB.
Oh, you're asking how it works?
Aye. So it's just like, whoever built that TV has got, it's enabled with a piece of equipment, no one even invented it.
Well, what's even worse than that is, again, this is just coming to me because somebody's watched it a million times. You'll see when he's got the camcorder on top of the TV, there's a couple of leads that you're meant to believe that's what makes it work, obviously, the 30-year difference in technology. But worse than that is, when he lifts up the camera, one of the leads falls out and it still shows in the TV. It's magic.
It's Doc Brown. He can invent a.
If somebody's done it,
Doc can invent anything.
Wireless connection in 1955. That's what we're going with.
So we've talked about other cultural references. There's countless ones. What's your guys' favourite one? What TV episode or film or anything that's referenced Back to the Future is sticks out with you?
It does stop my head.
I don't know. There's one-off jokes and there's little nods, but I don't think there's one that's better than the other.
I like the one in Family Guy where they showed. It's the end of the first / start of the second, where Doc comes and says to Marty and Jennifer, like, shit, we need to go. It's your kids. You guys are all right, but it's your kids. And he's like,
I know what you're saying.
Oh, well, what's that? What is it? He says, it's your daughter. She marries a black man. We're like,
yeah, we're cool with that.
It's fine. Doc's face is just a picture. You sure?
Yeah, I can't think of like one specific one that I would. I think one of the greatest sort of, well, not greatest, but newest ones is obviously Rick and Morty being a direct sort of parody or tribute to the film as a whole. So I think that would be my pick.
Yeah, it is. It so much is.
Yeah, because it's even like I had never seen Rick and Morty before, and I wasn't really that much aware of it. But then was reading something about Back to the Future, and they mentioned that the creators did this as a sort of the original Rick and Morty cartoon before it became what it is now was even more of a tribute. It was sort of basically just a rip off of Back to the Future, and it sort of evolved. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's really good.
Right, we'll go on to then. Well, unless you guys have got anything else to say, because I'm pretty much done with the plot. Any other bits of trivia?
There's 400. There's 343 if you want, but what I did stand out to me was that. See if I can find it again. Yeah. So yeah, Doc's distinctive hunched over look was developed because the filmmakers realized the extreme height difference between the Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox. Because Michael J. Fox is, it says here, 5'4.5", and Christopher Lloyd is 6'1". So they got to keep their faces in the same screen at the same time, without making the height difference really really obvious. They use specific blocking attempts where they stood really far apart, but they'd be close together, or he would have to
like an elf.
Yeah, or you'd have to hunch over and so you could be face to face with Michael J. Fox.
Always kind of lean on a computer desk or something.
Yeah, the Tom Cruise.
That's why he's always kind of hunched over and That's one that stood out to me.
What, Tom Cruise? That's why he just jumps on tables and that.
Yeah, to make me well, just to pick up on Dan, just to piggyback off of your trivia there was obviously Michael J. Fox being a smaller actor. you'll notice as well between the first and second films, they swap Jennifers. Elizabeth Shue takes over in the second film from the. Well, because obviously Eric Stoltz started off as Marty, there essentially was 3 Jennifers because the Jennifer that hired to act alongside Eric Stoltz was too tall for Michael J. Fox, so they had to recast Jennifer again. So throughout the course of the film, we essentially had 3 different Jennifers.
Aye. Shame. That's what you get for being a wee midget, man.
You get what, Parkinson's?
You get. Whoa! What are you trying to date me here, Kieran? I've got.
Again, just thought farts, just brain farts.
Michael J. Fox, hope you got all the best in your Parkinson's, as opposed to what Kieran just said. And you're going to be listening.
Michael J. Fox, big fan of the show.
No, and you're not going to be able to play pause, or you might press it again and again and again. Shake your hands.
I'll defend them.
I'll defend them and then I'll slag them off. Aye.
So Krusty's third nipple treatment right there. I'll treat you nice, they will just slag you off.
Okay, like one watch buy. I'll go first. I'll buy it. Despite what I've been trying to say about it. just kind of like, if it was a big foursome orgy here, like loving for the film, it might be a bit boring. I was just kind of testing you guys, but nah, I love it. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go next
as well.
I'll go watch because I know that it's going to be on ITV every fucking couple of months, and I'll just say, and I'm just going to be a cheap ass man.
I actually did buy it. I had to pay for it to watch for this thing.
Yeah.
So we give it a shot.
Yeah, because to be fair, that's it. I mean, it's not on. I thought I was going to be quite easy to pick up on, like BBC iPlayer or Netflix or Amazon or anything.
I think it's been on Netflix before, yeah.
It fluctuates. It was on Now TV, and then it went to Amazon, and I think it's back on Now TV again now.
So I suppose they're still just trying to make sure they're making money off it because they can. Because people will watch it anytime they see it. Anytime you're flipping past it, you will stop.
Well,
and you'll check and see it at some point in that movie. If you stop it, if you're channel surfing and you see it's on, you stop it. Is at what point in the movie do you not flick on to the next channel?
You stick with it. That's it.
You stick with it. Yeah, definitely.
Well, again, you got people like me who are continually going to keep. I think I'm on. This is my second run the DVD sets. This one's going to get worn out by Monroe, so I'm going to have to buy another one again. But it's
still on DVDs.
Well, we've got to have the DVDs for the kids. And again, so I'll buy it again to have it on DVD. This is Indiana Jones. This is the trilogies I'll keep forever. But again, they're still making money. Still making them.
So Daz, if you're going to buy it, you've got to buy the whole fucking trilogy.
The third one could just collect dust, the second one sometimes.
Well, Dan, with it playing the old man card, you will appreciate them more. Like the third one, the third one especially, you'll watch it again in 10 years and you'll see the difference in it. It's one of them that does sort of change you.
I don't know. It's because it's not got too much relation to the McFly family. I know it's got his granddad in there, but it's not. Like, the first one's very intricate. He's got to set these two characters up that he spent a lot of time with. The second one, you've got the kind of the nightmare world where Biff's in charge. You see the result of the family, or you got to go, in the future, and you just see what happens as a result of the family. So you're very close to them there. But this one is just, his granddad. Like, it's not as much. It's not, and it's not as heartfelt. That one only comes out because the other two, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It doesn't. There's nothing there for me.
Yeah, but the third one essentially it's Doc's film. It's no Marty's film. It's all about Doc and his arc. And
even then, I don't really have much with it there. It's just like, they have a train at the end. All right.
I was just thinking. I mean, Biff, the guy as an actor, he's not. I'm having a quick look. He's not really done too much of massive kind of accreditation since Back to the Future. He's had to ride that.
He looks like a typical 80s. Like, put him into the Goonies, put him into fucking Home Alone, put him into.
Oh yeah.
He could play any dramatic bad guy.
Yeah. It seems, seems like he'd be made for that.
But he was good. He was really good in this. I mean, the fact that he's kind of jumped on each film and he's tailored these. He's not really tailored his character. He's been the same character.
Well,
all the way through. I'll take everything back that I just said there. Actually,
well, the second one, you're right about the second one, because it's got to be the older Biff, the younger Biff, then the kind of the Biff that's in charge of everything. So
it's just Biff with a different voice.
It's three. It's character about the three different times and situations. There's more to him than. Like, Marty's always Marty. Marty's great, but you know what I mean. It's always the same guy. He has to pretend to be, but with Biff, he's got to be three different Biffs.
Yeah.
So
are you buying it, Baz?
Yeah. Instant buy for me.
Right. Good. Right, this is usually the part of the episode on which the quiz winner, i.e. Darren, picks what we're watching next. But we've handed that power over to the listeners. As Daz and Tarek mentioned earlier, we put a request out on social media for recommendations that you guys want us to speak about. And so from now on, instead of us picking our favourites, we'll be picking yours. There's pinned posts on Twitter and Facebook for you to put forward your suggestions. But for now, I've put every one of them that we've had so far. Particular shout-outs to Andy Weir and Teddy Watson for theirs. Many suggestions.
Go on, Teddy.
Yeah. fellow Douglas lad there.
Does you know?
So they're in Poppy's Easter hat. I'm going to pick, well, one's just jumped up and fell on the floor, so that's which one we're going to do. 2 seconds.
Oh, God. Can't even do the names of a hat proper.
Here we go. Oh man, Daz, we were talking about this yesterday. It's one from Andy Weir and it's Schemers.
So that's good.
Nice.
That's pretty much all I know about it. Oh, somebody told me
Dundee film.
Yeah, but I can't even remember what was brought up in conversation yesterday. Could you, Dan? Specifically why it was brought up? There was a lot of fact
it's because not the fact, but I know it was just because it was filmed in Dundee and people had a relationship to Dundee, so they felt connected to the movie because of that. But that little fact, no, it's lost.
Oh no, it was to do with we were playing Placebo, and is it somebody who's in this film or is kind of portrayed in this film went on to be Placebo's manager?
Yeah, because one voice of Placebo was either from Dundee or formed in Dundee or something like that. They got a good Dundee connection. Obviously, they've probably been the manager.
I'm locals FA here or grew up here or something now. So that was that. So we were talking about this yesterday. Okay, so that's Schemers. I don't know where we can watch it, but let's see.
Well, we got 2 weeks to find out.
Aye.
I'm going to watch that tonight.
Yeah.
Right now.
Not leaving it last minute again.
Right, so cheers for that, Andy. Schemers in 2 weeks. If you like what you're hearing here, don't keep it a secret. Tell a friend, tell an enemy. Search Krusty wherever you get your podcasts and visit our website, anchor.fm/Krusty's Nipple, and you'll see links to our back catalogue and social media platforms. Thanks, Del, for coming on, making this a hoot.
Thanks so much for having us, guys.
It's goodbye from me.
Thanks,
Goodbye from last word to you.
Thank you very much, Steph.
Cheers, guys. Keep up the good work.
We certainly will do. Goodbye, everyone.